because my father um, was in the military. He was a Navy man. So then after he retired in '87, we settled in the Eastern Panhandle of West Virginia, right outside DC. So I kind of have like the DC culture because I'm in the suburbs, but people just assume because I'm from West Virginia that we're down in the like the coal mines and the Hatfield McCoy area, but we're not.
Yeah.
So I've been in West Virginia. I've been in West Virginia my whole adult life, but in the like progressive area of West Virginia. So but yeah,
West Virginia.
yeah,
West
West
Virginia.
Virginia.
I was watching, and I'm not saying anything against West Virginia, but I was watching that documentary, The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. That
Mhm.
does not encapsulate all of West Virginia, but yeah, the Virginia. I love Virginia. I love that whole area in
Mhm.
DC. Oh,
Yeah.
this is an ode to DC and Virginia.
Mhm.
I'm talking to a legend, people. I'm talking to somebody who makes it happen, puts it together. We're gonna tell the story of JP of Studio 58. Everybody, please be respectful. Please listen, and with an open mind, let's let's find out what JP is all about. JP of Studio 58. What's
Yeah.
inspiring you these days?
I what's inspiring me these days? Well, the 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 understanding that at 53, I I my goals and things that I want to do and the things that I want to accomplish, I'm running out of time. So what's inspiring me is to keep pushing. Don't stop. If I stumble, get right back up, keep moving, and and just try to move faster than time itself, and see what all I can accomplish. I mean, I am blessed. I know that. And if I was to die tomorrow, I don't want anybody to mourn for me. It's been a great life, but I still have a lot I want to do, and it's racing against time because I know I'm not getting any younger. So.
JP, I know exactly how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
You know my story. I had a liver transplant, and I was dead for almost a minute. Um, it changed my life. It had a
Mm-hmm.
profound effect on me. Time. We have to live in the now.
Mm-hmm.
Time is we do not have enough of it, and we
Mm-hmm.
have to live in the now. So what we did, we became kinky, and so basically, one thing I absolutely love about you and what you're doing is Naughty Noel. We're going to talk about Naughty Noel, and we're
Yeah,
mainly
sure.
talk about Studio 58. But
Yeah.
what I'm interested, before we get all that, I want to shout out to Jay Moyes. Jay Moyes is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. So before we get into what you've done, tell us about your personal fetishes, just
Oh,
so people can get acquainted with who you are, what you're into.
well, I'm not exactly for everybody. I don't consider myself an edge player, but I do. My fet name is likes to play rough, and I do. I like playing with bottoms as I am a top. I consider myself more of a sadist. I like playing with bottoms that can take a lot. That can and I generally gravitate towards more masculine bottoms. So as a bisexual male, I prefer to play with men. And I even go even further. I have a body type. I like the bigger, bare, chubby, masculine guys. And if we're talking about specific kinks, I could go into that. I could go into that as well. I really get into CBT, and I'm quite good at it. I've actually had I have a little bit of a reputation with it, in the community, and um, I have no problem finding people to want to come over and get on my table and experience a ride that I can give. Especially with CBT. I've been doing it a long time. I've taught classes on it, and I feel like you got to enjoy what you do. So
That's true. That is
yeah.
true. What is it about beating the balls at chubby subs that you love so much?
I don't know. I wish I could articulate an answer other than it. I guess it's just it's the ultimate sensitive area on a man, and by having that area in your hand and having having your bottom endure for your pleasure. That's what really gets me going, because having bottoms, um, you know knowing they're not really enjoying it, but they're doing it anyways because that's what pleases me. That's what motivates me. And I think the fact that it's just a very sensitive area that's not designed to take a lot of beating. And I know most of the people that are laying there letting me do it are absolutely second guessing themselves after they get down on the table. So
If I was younger and a little chubbier, would you beat my balls? What would you
probably
do? Take us through the process.
take you through the process. Well, first, everything's negotiated. I definitely sit down and make sure that long before before you even get an invite over, I've talked to you. I get a feel for you. I make sure that you're up for what I could do, because a lot of especially new people will come to me not really realizing what it is that they're getting themselves into, and you can just tell that by having a conversation with them, knowing that they're just fantasy stricken, and that's where their mind is. And you try to reel them in a little bit, and they kind of go into like a sub frenzy, and they really just don't know what they're doing. And then you go from a potential play partner to now you're trying to be a protector. Now you're going to be like, hey, I don't know if the way that you're coming across. I don't think you quite understand what you're looking for. And if you get tied up with the wrong person, you're really going to get seriously hurt. So I've had people like that. But after getting through that process and making sure that they understand, and we get really detailed. I generally like to make sure that I have a meal with these people, make sure that that they're not mean to waitresses or wait staff, or try to get an idea of their character and who they are, and really try to make sure that I'm not inviting somebody over to my house that is going to be problems for me down the road. So once I feel like we've got a really good understanding of each other, I feel like this is a person that their integrity and their character is somebody that I want to associate myself with. I invite them over, and then when I invite them over, they get strapped down, and things start out light, and they get really intense. And then as things are getting intense, I'm in the ear of the bottom, coaching them through it, making sure that they stick in there, keeping and then I'll warn them when it's going to really get bad, and we push through it. And then once we've gotten through where I feel like that they're I get them right to it doesn't matter what your pain tolerance is. I'm going to find it, and I'm going to keep you there, until I feel like, because there's subtle cues when the body just starts to give in. So once I start to see those subtle cues, I cool things down, bring things off, and then because we've done such a good job, I know what your fantasies are and your things that you want and your reward, and I provide you your reward for enduring, and I make sure that when you leave happy and you want to come back. So,
And I noticed one takeaway I got was, yes, be respectful and polite to wait staff.
yeah,
The waiters. A big shout out to all the waiters, waitress, anybody on the wait staff working in restaurants.
well, anybody, you can get an idea of
any part of that.
Yeah, just driving down the road, see how they act when they're driving their vehicle.
All right, let's go back a little. How would you say that you found yourself? Because it took me a while. My whole story, I write about it in my book, The Coolest Way to Kill Yourself. I went through this character arc, where I knew what I liked and everything like that, but I wasn't confident enough to express myself or to experience. You know what I mean? So tell us about that. And I kind of view that as finding yourself, realizing who you are, what kind of person you are.
Well,
So when
hang
did that
on,
happen to you?
buckle in, because this is the story. All right. So, I've always known, I've I've always liked porn since I was a child. But being a child of the '80s and the '90s, there was no internet. I had very little access to porn, but the porn that I could get was, it was the more of the BDSM. Also, it was the BBWs and BHMs and stuff like that too. But that's beside the point. But it was always the bigger bodies in bondage that I gravitated towards. Being in that time, growing up in a Christian home and all that programming and everything, I kept it to myself. I really didn't explore it. It was just, you know, my thing. And then I got connected with a really good friend that was a stunt coordinator for B-rated movies, and we did a lot of. I worked with him being a paramedic. I was kind of his safety guy. I made sure that whenever he was doing a stunt or coordinating a stunt, I was always there to kind of ensure that things went safe. And if something did go wrong, I was there to take care of them. So I really got connected with him, and we worked on a bunch of like low amateur movies. I got to meet Ron Jeremy. I got to meet some a couple other uh, B-rated celebrities at the time, and just you know was doing this for a while, and I would get bored being on set all day long and doing nothing, and I'd go over to the prop set design people, and I would start helping them build things. And we worked on a lot of horror movies, a lot of B-rated horror movies, like death and murder and creative
Yeah.
ways to kill people and everything.
What are some of these movies that you
One was Hollow Creek Canyon was a good one. That was a movie that was shot in Charlottesville, Virginia. Ron Jeremy's in that one. The Wiccans was another one that had Ron in it. I worked on a movie called The Screening with Cameron Romero. That was up in Pittsburgh. That was in the middle of the winter. We froze our asses off there. But I got a little bit of I got some credits to my name. And I was working in the prop department one day, and this beautiful short little femdom walked up to me. Her name was Bebe Doll. She was, I don't know if she's still around. She was real popular. She was real popular back in the like, I don't know, 2009, 2010. I think it's when, maybe a little bit before that, maybe 2008. Um, and she asked me to build her something for her dungeon. She said, you really have a knack for this. Would you mind building me something? I went, sure, I'd build you something. So I built her a canopy that went over her bed, and she loved it. And I happened to be there when we installed it over her bed, and I happened to be there right when one of her subs was there, and she looked at the sub and said, "All right, pay the man." Now we hadn't negotiated a price of what this was going to cost. She just said, "Can you build it?" I said yes, and she was like, "I'll take care of you. Just build it." And I did. It took me like 2 weeks. I built it. I went and installed it, and this guy hands me $1,500 right there. I was blown away. I'm staring at this money, going, "Okay." And then she was like, "Can you build me a couple other things?" And I went, "Yeah, I could do that. I could build you." So I built her a couple other little things, paid me. Her friends, she was connected to people. Next thing I know, I've got requests of furniture to build. So I spent a whole summer building and selling furniture, thinking that I was going to be I found my niche. This is it. This is a business. I'm gonna start to I'm gonna be a furniture guy. And that wave of like it wasn't a lot at the time. It was a lot for me. Looking back on it, it probably wasn't a big deal, but but in the time it was, it was really exciting and things were happening. So I I kept building furniture thinking another wave was going to come in, and it didn't. No, nobody else was interested. And I had all this fetish furniture. I had crosses, benches, and tables and stocks around, just laying around my house. And I was like, what am I going to do with all this furniture? I need to get it out. So I got this bright idea that I was going to do a photo shoot and get this information out there and do a website, and it was going to be this. So I put a ad out on a thing called Model Mayhem. And I should back up a little bit. I wasn't alone at this time. I had my friend that was doing the stunts with. I was working with him, and I feel like it, because he was there in the beginning to help me get this thing started. I feel like he should have a little bit of notoriety that he was there. So I shouldn't act like I was doing this all by myself. So we decided to have this photo shoot and bring all, and see if we could bring this attention to ourselves and everything. And I put an ad on Model Mayhem, and I got this strange phone call one day from well, I don't think she was a pro dom. She was a fetish model. I know that. She worked for Intersex, and I think she did a little thing for kink.com for the time, but her name was Sister D. And I get this phone call from her, and she says, "Hi, my name's Sister D. I'm a professional fetish model. I know everybody in the industry. I don't know you. Who the hell are you?" And I was like, "I beg your pardon?" And she repeated it, and I was like, "Well, that's what I'm trying to change. I'm trying to become noted. She was like, "Look, I'll come out. I'll look at your stuff. If your stuff is the shit, I'll open doors for you." And she showed up to the photo shoot. I kind of did the, "Hey, I appreciate you being here, blah blah blah." And she showed up with another professional fetish model, who was she's a plus size model. Her name was Ivory Mistress J. And they came into my house, basically did the, "Look, we're here to see the stuff. If it ain't what we think, we're out of here." And I took them to where the stuff was, and they loved it. And before I knew it, they were both stripping down in my dining room, putting on their makeup, getting their garb on, and we went down, and I never took so many pictures in my life. We had to hire a photographer there, but he was taking pictures. I was taking pictures. My friend was taking pictures. We were just clicking away. And I have a lot of those pictures. There's somewhere on my hard drive. And sure enough, the next day, my phone started ringing. The next day.
Let's fast forward to Studio 58.
Okay.
You have events coming up. And
I do.
One of the reasons we're here is to promote these events, right?
Yep.
So, tell us about it. Naughty.
Well, let me just back up a little bit and tell you what Studio 58 is and how I came up with the name. How I came up with the name Studio 58. So, after building the furniture and meeting Sister D and all that, I started going to other people's events and being the furniture guy. People would pay me to bring that furniture I was trying to sell, and they would rent it. I would set it up, take it down, take it away. I did that for 2 years, and I was just tired of packing up every weekend, or not every weekend, but you understand how many events are being held in basements and hotels and so I got to be known as the furniture guy, and I was taking the furniture all over the place, and I got tired of doing it. I decided I wanted to do my own parties. I had a big house at the time. I did my own parties. I took my parties. My first party was like 20 people. My last party that I did at my cabin was 250. So I got in with somebody. He turned out later to be somebody without the best integrity. He knew exactly how to whisper into my ear and get me to um, you know, and basically get past my defenses. But we started a venue in Frederick, Maryland, that was called Grove Lane Studios, and we worked to build that kink venue. Getting around the county zoning and everything else, and working working on trying to create a safe and um, you know beautiful space. And before I knew it, I started to see the writing on the wall that I'd gotten in business with the wrong person. I separated myself from it because I saw a lot of things there that I wasn't proud to be a part of, and the way some shady business practices and things that I just didn't want to be. I didn't want to be a part of. So fast forward about 6 months after I had separated, um, the my business partner had managed to kind of flush everything down the toilet. He attacked some women that were claiming to be victims in the in that space, and I mean, it was classic victim shaming. And before I knew it, it was a pile of rubble. And I was actually in New Orleans at the time, and my phone was blowing up while I was in New Orleans. It was for Mardi Gras, and my phone is going up, and there was only one person that called that I knew something was wrong that I answered, and I hope he doesn't get upset, but I'm going to mention his name. His name was Captain Gordon, and he said, "Hey, I don't know if you know, but the venue is in total ruins." He was like, "If you come back, will you sit in the chair?" And I said, "I'm not going to sit in the chair if my business partner is still there. He has to be gone." He was like, I'll get you the money to get him gone, and I will get you everything that you need. You just have to promise me that you'll come back." And I said, "Well, I'm going to need help." He was like, "I'll get you an army." And he was true to his word. He got me tied up with a man who, to this day, is probably one of the smartest men I know. Has some of the best integrity, and he got rid of my ex business partner, and we rebranded the venue Studio 58. And I kind of like the whole Studio 54 jive. And I said, and I went to Captain and Gordon. And I said, "Can you make Studio 58, but make it look like the Studio 54 logo?" I was like, "But in the center of the 8, put a keyhole there to make it look like a lock, make the 8 look like a lock." And he went, "Yeah, I could do that." So he drew up that logo for me. And to this day, I am forever grateful to that man, because he gave me back what I thought I had lost in Studio, which became Studio 58. And my wife Michelle and I, we ran that venue very successfully, with a lot of help, of course. My right hand man, Diamond Dave, uh, Lonnie Angel was part of it for a long time. I mean, these people were all instrumental in making that place successful, and we ran it for 5.5 years before we kind of outgrew the space, and it was time to move on. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was hoping to find another venue. I didn't expect to start doing hotel takeovers, but life has a way of ushering you in the direction you're supposed to be, and right now it's doing these massive hotel takeover events. So
Nice. Well, the kink rolls on,
yeah, the
and
kink rolls on.
the kink rolls on, and the party. I'm writing another book called "The Coolest Way to Save My Life," and a major theme of it is how there's always another party to go to, and it depends on what type of party you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That can mean anything. Whether it's a rave or a punk rock gig
Mm-hmm.
or a band or something like that, or a kink party or an event or something like that, they come and go, but the energy, the life, right, that people have, you got it. You have that fire. I love it. So how do you run a BDSM safe space event? How does that happen? How do you run it? It's one thing to get, hey guys, everybody be cool, right? Okay, great. No, it doesn't. It's not always like work like that. You have to
You
run.
run it by making a lot of mistakes. Yes, I mean that's the you just learn from them. We we ran the venue for 5.5 years. Every weekend we were there Monday. Or well, my wife was there mostly on Mondays. I still have a career job, so but she was there Monday through Sunday, and she would go home Sunday, and then come back Monday afternoon. That was the only time she was away from that place, and we ran that place very successfully. Made a lot of mistakes. Grew with our crowd, and yeah, it takes patience. It takes knowing, see value in people, and bringing those people close to you, and making sure that you're just as genuine as the people you're hoping to look for. I mean, you got to be humble. You got to be, and you got to understand that in the position that I'm in, it's a service position. I
Yes.
identify as a statistic dominant, but I know when I'm at my studio or where I'm at an event, I'm there in service. I am there to serve the community, and make the community, a better place. So,
Well, what are some mistakes you made, excuse me, or
oh,
people
wow.
make running a BDSM?
Well, I mean, poor judgment in people. You know what I mean? Like, getting a little too arrogant, getting um, a little too cocky, moving too fast. Not listening to people that you should be listening to. So I've done that. Like, I keep a tight circle around me. I have an inner circle, an outer circle, and I have a group of advisors, and it's when you don't listen to them and you move out. You know, I mean, I do. As an entrepreneur, you got to learn to take risks, but at what cost? And there's been times when I've taken the risks where the reward wasn't worth it, and at the end, I may have won the argument, but at what cost? I've lost somebody who, you know, used to give me good advice, but now they don't think I want to listen to them, so they've moved on. Things like that, like those are the things that you have to really like. Sometimes you wanna move in a direction when everything is pulling you the other direction. So you just you if you ignore it, then next thing you know, it's the universe has a way of, if you don't listen to it, it'll come down hard on you, and I'm
Um,
I'm I'm guilty of that. So
I have a question. Were there um, drugs ever in the dungeon?
drugs.
People, yeah, ever like people kind of sneak in drugs or do anything, or was that ever an effect?
Well,
Because I
when we
see
had
it, I don't
when
see it in the dungeons that I
well
go to,
right when we
but
had our venue, we were very strict on all that. We allowed vaping, but if we had any hint of like 420 or anything like that, we were very anti 420. We've lightened up on that, even though it's still in our our rules that it's not allowed, because it's still considered, in a lot of places it's still frowned upon. I'm not, like, if I catch a whiff of it and walking by somebody's hotel room, I'm not banging on their door telling them, you know what I mean? Like, I just kind of just well, I wouldn't ask somebody to hit their pen or anything like that in front of me, because now I'm obligated to do something, because it is in our rules that we don't want any drugs or anything like
Well,
that. Being
insurance, there's an insurance issue, there's a
insurance,
safety
you know what I
issue,
mean, and
the
it's
legal
never a good
issue,
idea to be
the
impaired in
health
play. You
issue.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's I use it as a I love kink because I love drugs. I used to seriously. I would love them way too much. That's why I can't do them anymore. I physically can't do them anymore.
I've never
Um,
done never done a drug.
I know we were talking about that. We were talking
Yeah.
about that.
Never
So,
even drank alcohol. Never. Nothing.
but kink
Completely
becomes
sober.
addictive to many
Yeah.
people. Let me ask you this though.
Hmm.
You were talking about partners and dungeons and making. So, is there a key to making money with others in a BDSM dungeon, or what is the key? To if so, let's say I want to start a new dungeon. We have
Hmm.
a dungeon already. There's a dungeon that shout out to Mischief Manor.
Hmm.
Mistress Shari is the queen of Mischief Manor.
All right.
Wonderful. We got a cool setup. You love it. Next time you're in Jersey, come up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I'm like 3 hours from Jersey. I could
Dude,
probably,
we're having
I
parties.
could
Check it
probably
out.
end this and drive and finish this podcast in your studio. You know, so
Maybe
yeah.
by the time it's done, you'd probably be anyway.
Right.
So I mean, sure, it's like a business, so there's the rules of business, there's the etiquette of regular business, but it's
Well,
also a BDSM sex dungeon. So what's the key?
the key word was, how do you run a successful dungeon? Anybody can run a dungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Successful.
anybody can run a dungeon. You know what I mean? Like there's successful. You don't cut corners. Don't cut corners. And safety is the first thing in everything. You know what I mean? Like, and you want to make sure that you got quality people teaching quality people to monitor, and that is and again, you don't cut corners on that. You make sure that that's um number one is safety, and making sure that you got good people in there monitoring it, because you know a fox can still get in the hen house. So you need a good good team to be ready for when that happens, because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Especially in a public or private play space.
And I think about it this way. The whole point of having a dungeon, a successful dungeon, is to get people together.
Mm-hmm.
So the core people that you have there as your team should be the right people. You know what I mean? Should be, and that's so.
I mean, I am blessed. We've been doing this 8 years, so I've had 8 years to to really get the people that I have closest to me, to get to know them, understand where their strengths are, you know what I mean? And but in the beginning, there was a lot of changing of the guards, I mean, you talked about mistakes, and it was just, I as much as I try to, do my due diligence and getting to learn somebody's character and stuff like that, I still, I still missed, I still hadn't had made enough mistakes in what to look for in people to really see the, in between the lines, when looking, looking for the character traits of people that I want to be doing it. It just took me time to be able to get that experience.
Yeah. Let me ask you.
I think I'm explaining myself correctly. I know
You
I'm
are,
stumbling. I know I'm stumbling, but I want to make sure
No.
I'm getting it across.
Here, I'm entering a question in the chat so I can put it up because you inspired a new one. What are the keys to growing older or older in the kink community?
Can you repeat that? What was that again?
Oh, I'll throw it up on the screen.
Oh,
to being. I don't know. I gotta reword it.
okay.
I was trying to do it in a rush, but basically, what are the keys to being or growing older in the kink community?
Well, you definitely having having a certain level of maturity definitely makes it easier to see them coming. And I think what I mean when I say that.
Oh
You
yeah.
can tell the people who are genuinely here to
Hmm.
be involved in the kinky lifestyle and to be a servant to the community, or the people that are just looking to, and pardon my way to say it, but this is me. You're getting to know me. The people who are just in it to get their dick wet.
Yeah,
So, and I know
totally.
that kind of little sexist, but that's you know I think that paints the picture of you know.
There are some people, but there are some people who I see in the kink community who I wish I could either be them or know them.
Hmm.
I want to like I use them as, and they're not that much older, but they have accomplished way so much, a lot more than I have, of course, and they're beautiful and stuff like that. People, is there anyone that you truly admire in the kink community that you kind of want to just give you flowers to right now?
Who I truly admire in the kink community?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Well, I don't know if he's really in the kink community, but he's done more for the kink community than anybody um I can actually uh, you know think of. Well, and that is the owner of Camp Bramblewood. I don't want to say his name because I don't have permission to say his name, but he was the one that helped me get away from my business partner, and he's a lot of the reason why Studio 58 is successful. Those who know who I'm talking about know what I mean. Um, the other person I could think of that but I've met this person, I interact with this person, but I have a lot of respect for him, and that's the owner of Dark Odyssey. I'm not going to say his name either because I don't have permission. But those who know who I'm talking about. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's people out there that I would love to meet that I haven't met, but right now I'm not really. I'm kind of spacing on their names. The other person that I would want to give a shout out to, as far as somebody I respect a lot and has done an amazing things for the community, and it's all behind the scenes, and I doubt anybody even knows what she's done. And I will say her name because I think more people need to know who she is. And she's a wonderful woman. But Susan Wright with the NCSF. Um, if you ever have,
I've had
it,
her on. Susan
yeah,
Wright. Shout out to Susan Wright,
yeah,
the NCSF,
yeah,
National
she is
Coalition for
my
Sexual
go-to
Freedom.
person whenever there's a problem that I am struggling with. I call Susan, and she picks up every time. You know.
I would love to talk with her again. I don't want to burden her with I don't want to burden her with questions and stuff like that. But I
Hmm.
would love to talk with Susan. Get at me.
Yeah,
Maybe yeah.
I might be able to make that
Um,
happen. You know.
all right, yeah, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Look, I want to talk. I want to shift this for a second.
Okay.
Okay, I want to talk about something.
Okay.
Now,
Hmm.
I'm after the transplant, right? I got even harder into the kink community that I was in
Hmm.
already. I met Mr. Shari, and I saw Mischief Manor grow like throughout the year, and I helped put the curtains up. I helped iron the curtains, and now seeing it what it is, it's beautiful. One thing that they always talked about, everybody talked about, especially during the holidays, was Naughty Noel. Naughty Noel, Naughty Noel. Have you gone to Naughty Noel? And it became like this myth, this kind of almost dream. Are you going? Oh, I go because it's far. Because we're in Jersey,
Hmm.
and especially since I'm recovering from a liver transplant. I'm lucky I can get to a dungeon at all. I'm thankful I'm talking to anyone kinky. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So you created something. You created
Hmm.
something beautiful. You created part of something that's part of kink legend, right? You are a kink, yeah.
Yeah,
So
we're
tell us
pretty proud
about
of it. Yeah.
Naughty Noel
Hmm.
and the new one coming out.
Yeah. Um, Naughty Noel's it's our flagship. It's our mothership. It is We this is going on our 8th year that we've done it. Both hotels have already sold out. We're selling a third hotel now that's down the street. Um, I will say this: it it's the least it's the event that I have to promote the least anymore. You know, we still have the event that's coming up, and I'll get back to Naughty Noel in a second. But I just want to say, um, it's the we have Naughty Knowledge coming up in a little over a week. It's a first year event for that. It's geared towards new people and experienced people trying new things. So now, if you are an experienced person that doesn't wish to experience new things, you could still come to this event. I mean, there's still something for everybody. But the whole concept of the of Naughty Knowledge is for new people in the scene to make sure that this is a lifestyle for them, and then moving on to uh, Naughty Noel after this, and Naughty Noel is I'm telling you, you want to talk about just the whole that time of year with the holidays and that give energy of giving and everything. We try not to make it, all about Christmas because there's plenty other like Yule and other celebrations we could be having. So we try to blend it all into one and make it and just make it something for everybody. There's shopping, there's education, there's play, and the way that when we take over this hotel and we decorate, we go over the top. I mean, it is visual overload from the moment you walk through the door, everywhere you look, you're seeing new things. You can walk down the same hallway 10 times and see something new every time because that's just that attention to detail is something that I realized a long time ago at the studio is it's kind of like the McDonald's mentality where everything is bright and shiny and welcoming and warm, but you can only take so much of it. And then usually by Sunday, you're ready to go home. You're not in a depression because it's over. You've been visually overloaded for 3 days. Sunday, your brain has said, "Okay, I'm ready to go," and I feel like that that formula is good. It gets people excited. It keeps people excited. But then after they've had enough of it, they're not depressed when they're leaving. So, and I do that with all my
Yeah.
events. All of our events are that way. So
So let's talk about all your events. Your events are different than the typical kink event. How would you say your events? Originally wrote how is this different than other events, but
right.
you
So
would say the Studio 58 has a signature style, right?
we do. Yeah, we do.
So how would you
Attention
say
to
yours?
detail. Attention to detail. And I've been, I've had other big venue promoters, big hotel promoters come to me and pay me compliments and say, okay, wow, okay, I get it. I get why you do it. Okay, I see where you're different, and that's a compliment because these are people that I aspire to be, and I want to be in their circle because they're respected in the community, been doing it longer than me, and I hope to have that reputation myself someday. So attention to detail, and and again, I know I'm a promoter. I'm supposed to sell.
Oh yeah.
You as a listener are just going to have to take my word for it and come and experience it, and then tell me if I'm wrong. But when you come into our space, the feeling of welcomeness and warm and the positive energy and you get that from the moment you walk through the door. We give tours. We have people whose responsibility is to find people who look lost and try to connect with them. You know, I tell a lot of people, if you're an introvert and you're somebody who, you know, doesn't like in your face crowds, we may not be the event for you, because we're going to approach you. We're gonna pull you in. We're gonna, I mean, we're not gonna touch you, or anything, but we're going to make you feel welcome. And if you're somebody who just wants to go to an event, take your classes, and just kind of keep your head down, I mean, you can still navigate my event fine. You can, but you're going to be approached, and people are going to want to interact with you and stuff like that. That's just how we are. The whole weekend is that way. It's just, my whole philosophy is I want people to leave with more friends than they came with. So, and I like all of our programming to be, not that it is, we're trying to get it there, but I'm trying to get our programming to be more interactive, more, hands on, not you stand and talk, I sit and listen. I mean, there are some classes you need that for. And my programming director, Lady Plume, she is, she has her hands full, because a lot of my ideas are out there. So she's constantly, trying to find the balance of what is doable and make me happy at the same time. So, because again, I'm constantly, uh, you know, throwing
But
ideas
how
and,
vendors, when people, I'm sure you're approached, right?
oh yeah, I'm
When you're
not.
approached
I
by
got
vendors.
somebody. I got somebody that I put on vending.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, but do
Are
you have
you
any
familiar?
stories about getting people, just getting people for the events? Because that's the core of this. The core of this is getting people together. In order to
Yeah.
get people together, you have to get a core team of people,
Hmm.
right? To handle this. So, how do you do that? How do you get people?
Uh,
How did you find?
our best, our best is, promotion is word of mouth. It just putting on the best event that you can. Like okay, so just so that you understand, this event coming up is a 300-person event. Okay, we usually do 800 or 900 people events. The Naughty Knowledge coming up is a smaller event, but we are going full tilt. We are treating it as if it is a 1,000-person event, and the reason why we're doing that is because I want those 300 people to go away and go back and tell everybody, "Wow, what a great event!" So the next time we do it, we'll have 600. And then after that, we'll have 900. You see where I'm going with this?
Oh
And
yeah.
that's how Naughty Noel, the first Naughty Noel, was like 100 people. That was it. The very first one. We were cold. It was, I mean, we did the best that we could. We took it over the top. But if you went to the first Naughty Noel and then you came to the last Naughty Noel, they're completely different. You know what I mean? But as far as size and glitz and glamour, but the energy is still the same. So the same energy that you got at the first one is the same energy that you get at this one. It's just, it's just a little bit more involved. But
I think you and I, it would be fun if we did a show, just one episode of
yeah,
telling the story of the very, very first Naughty Noel,
there was a
right?
lot
So
of yelling and a lot of
we
crying.
just
I'll tell you that
we
right
just do
now.
one episode and we only like re-release it during the
Hmm.
holidays,
Yeah,
or when to promote it. We should do that. That'd be
I'm a
fun.
talker, man. You
I
put me
know.
on anytime, dude.
I'll
Uh,
just introduce you and let you tell
yeah,
the
and just let me
story.
start talking. Yeah.
I've done that before. I
Well,
love
thank
those.
you.
So advertising, you have studio you have Studio 58. You have
Hmm.
your people. You got to get the word out.
Hmm.
Of course, you put on a website. You
Hmm.
know people in the industry already, right?
Hmm.
But of course, you need to get the word out. People, how do you do that? You said word of mouth is, yes, that is the core of it.
Uh-huh.
But there's more, and there's also on top of that, there are people who constantly are after you for money to advertise, right? So how do you navigate through that? How do you navigate
Well, I
the
mean,
maze of
it's
advertising?
believe it or not, it's not as difficult as, or it's not as complicated as one might think. we use club cards, and we go to local munches, or I have people that'll go to local munches and you know and talk the event up and give out the club cards. We go to venues, and I put club cards in packages of other hotel events and stuff like that. This is a, you know, this is a good way to advertise. This is what we're doing. We do, excuse me, we do most of our advertising on FetLife, but even FetLife has kind of locked things down where they make that you know, challenging anymore. But my wife Michelle, she she created the template that caused FetLife to make a lot of the changes
Hmm.
to their algorithms, because my wife had figured out how to get around all of their walls, and was advertising our studio in Frederick like it just beyond what anybody else was doing at the time. And I don't know this for sure. I tease her all the time because it would seem like right when we were getting a good stride of advertising, and she was kind of working around some of the restrictions that they put on it. It was like they came down really hard on the restrictions and kind of really locked things down and made it harder if you were a commercial space trying to advertise on FetLife. I told her, I said, I'm pretty sure FetLife is, or you know, looked at you and said, okay, how do we get around this woman? Because I'm sure, because she was, I mean, the things that she was, some of the creative ways that she was advertising at the time was just blowing my mind. So, but yeah,
I
I mean, that's it really. You know, just
We
talking
have
about
some
the event.
questions. We have some
Okay,
questions. All
cool.
right. First of all, Mr. Shari from Mistress Manor, who's oh my God, she is an amazing person, just a true legend in my in the kink community. She is. She asks, why do you keep doing events when it seems like it's a thankless effort? Is throwing events of so I'm asking, are these events, are they a thankless effort? And if so, why do we keep doing it?
I mean, there are days, there are, you know, I mean, there's sleepless nights. You know, I've been, you know, I've been the subject of a fet writing. Everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say fet writing. Um, you know, why do I keep doing it? Some people would say it's my ego, but I, I, all right. Well, I'm gonna slow down something. When I made the decision to close my studio in Frederick, okay, I made the decision to do it. Um, uh, that's a whole other story. I can go in why we decided to close when we were at the top of our game. But just know that the lease came up, and I wasn't comfortable signing another 5 year lease. So I made the conscious decision to close the studio in hopes to find a studio where we didn't have to fight with the local government, and everybody knew that we were. It was no secret. I was winning. I had I had plenty of support inside the local government and around the town. So I knew I could stay in the fight, but I still made the conscious decision to close. And when I did, I saw the sadness in all the faces of the people, and I took that to heart. That affected me straight to my core, and I a decision I made had such a profound, sad impact on so many people, and I swore if I could ever get back in a position where I can make people happy and provide this for people, I was going to do it. And I would, you know, aside of going to jail, I would never stop it again unless it had something to do with my health or my ability to be free. And that was my promise to myself. And because there's nothing worse than seeing people crying, bawling, going, I love this place. I'm going to miss it. I wish it wasn't leaving, knowing I was the one that made the decision that put that feeling or emotion in all those people. And I swore if I could fix it, I'm going to, and I'm never gonna take it away unless
You
unless
mentioned
unless it's forcefully taken away from me.
you mentioned something. Um, forgot what it said. Vet noted or vet reported or what was it? What was the term you said?
Go back again.
You said something that you have been vet noted
Oh,
or
I
something.
was I was part of a FET writing,
What
what
does
they
that mean?
call. So on FetLife, um, if you're being canceled, there will be the first a writing will come out about you, and then it just goes downhill from there,
By
and
who?
uh, whoever has some sort of beef against you.
Oh, you
My
mean the internet?
The internet, yeah, yeah. FetLife,
Oh,
FetLife is the social media platform that we use to do a lot of our advertising.
of course.
It's the social media for kinky people, and I was the focus of a fet writing that turned out to be a lie. I don't know to this day. I mean, I could speculate what their motives were, but I truly don't know what their motives were. And it was rough. It was terrible. It was horrible. And I mean, people I don't know, and don't know anything about it other than what this person said, coming up with creative ways to castrate me. You know what I mean? Like, and I got to sit there and just take it on the chin. You know, nobody had any idea what was going on, but they were literally trying to ruin my life over
It's
misinformation.
it's wild that you say that because I'm in the kink community,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I have a podcast. I talk to a wild variety of people
Mm-hmm.
about the wildest stuff. So castration, chastity,
Mm-hmm.
uh, people with murder fetish, like all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. So when something happens to me, or if one of my friends, something happens to it, and it can be devastating because I love them and they're my friends,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And if I tell a vanilla person, like, someone in my family, like, oh, well, that's the circle you run in, you know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean? So, being on FetLife and, it's, it's weird seeing that,
Mm-hmm.
getting castration things. So, just to clear things up, clear the air, what were some of the lies told? What is, so say,
So
what did you see?
we have a dog, and our dog used to we used to have the dog at the at the studio, and at nighttime when people would be leaving, we would let the dog out. Well, he was a puppy at the time, and um, I will tell you right now, I'm not a dog trainer. I've learned a lot since I've had this puppy, but at the time I was taking the advice of somebody. Maybe I shouldn't. Again, we make mistakes, and the dog was squatting to pee in the middle of the studio floor. I was instructed to if you to get a dog to not pee, you scare him. So I went no, and I yelled really loud. Um, People can believe it if they want to believe, but um, it startled everybody because I yelled. And I'm a big guy. I yelled loudly. The dog stopped peeing, but everybody thought because the dog when I yelled, the dog shied away and scurried off. It was perceived that I kicked the dog, and the people were going around telling everybody that I kicked this dog. Um, and
JP, did you kick this dog?
I did not kick the dog, and
Did you kick the dog?
no, I did
Yeah,
not kick the dog.
that's
Um,
3 times you told me.
right,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
So,
You didn't kick the dog.
so what had happened is the person who made the original post had, I guess, gotten enough confidence to articulate my boots that I was wearing at the time. And I guess being a big guy, dominant, sadistic, it would be assumed that I would be wearing boots. Well, I don't. Everybody who knows me knows I wear Crocs. I am a Crocs with socks person. And as soon as this person put out about my big black boots, everybody was like, wait a minute. You didn't see him kick no dog. We all know JP wears Crocs and socks. So, and then from that point is when it started to go away. But it never got the same traction that it got when I was being accused. But and it took about 3 days for that to happen. So about 3 days of pure misery. People, literally, expecting me to,
I see it all the time. I see it all the time. That's why I'm going to say this now.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the data. My show. I don't talk shit about anybody.
Right.
There's nothing on record of Nicholas Tanek talking shit about anybody, especially on my show or another show. You know why? Because I think the kink community should support the kink community. All we have is us. Mm-hmm. All we have is us. We're putting on record, and we're putting we're not going to kill each other for someone's amusement. No, we're here together to live, to survive. Yeah, I don't talk about other people. Kink helps kink, right? So let's get people. Let's spread some kink knowledge. All right, let's do this. We got some more questions. Oh, we have John. John Bagley says, I was at the first Noel. Let's talk about it.
He's been around a lot longer than Noel, but yeah.
John, come on, you want to come on the show?
Huh? Yeah. He's one of my DMs. Don't let him fool you.
So, I got to find the question. So we're talking about logistics, advertising. Here's a question. What is the typical bullshit you have to deal with at one of these events?
People not keeping their hands to themselves.
Really?
Yeah.
So what do they steal the most? What do they steal the most?
Well, we appeal to a lot of swingers. Okay. So and in the swinger world, it's very appropriate to walk up and introduce yourself by putting your hand on somebody's shoulder or their arm or whatever. Can't do that at our event. You have to ask permission before you touch anybody. So we get that, and new people to the community will come up and don't know that etiquette is frowned upon, so that they do it. Now, am I going to throw you out of the event if you do that? Not once, not twice, but if you ain't got it by the third time, you're probably gonna be asked to go, and we'll let you know when it's okay to come back. So we do have people that indulge too much sometimes. That's bullshit. And as somebody who doesn't drink alcohol myself, I have a very low tolerance for it. So it's probably best that you don't let me handle that. I let other people intervene with that who have been there, because I never have. So I'm very low tolerance for it. So whenever someone's had a little bit too much, they're like, okay, we got this, boss. We'll take care of it from here. I've never had anybody have too much and get violent. We've had people have too much and do things that they weren't supposed to, that ultimately end up getting them kicked out. But that I'd say that just people coming in, not reading the rules, not knowing the etiquette, despite all of our opportunities to teach them such, and still happen to deal with that, and a lot of single new people, nervous, just overindulging. Again, it may not be as big a problem as what I'm making it sound, because of my attitude towards it. But you did ask me, what is the bullshit I have to deal with? So, and that's it.
Oh yeah, no, good answer. Mm-hmm. And of course, we have the stand question. If you could have any superpower, what would it be, and how would you use it in your kink life?
Read people's minds. And I think we all know how I would use it in my kink life. That would be my superpower.
No, we don't know. Please
Oh,
tell us.
I mean, come on, it's pretty self-evident. If I could read your mind, the advantage that I would have in the kink life. So
So, does it deal with the balls of chubby men?
yeah,
No.
yeah. Ask John. Yeah, I know
Uh,
you're listening, John. You want to chime in?
um,
John is completely straight, by the way. I've been chasing him for years. He's completely straight.
so
So
your next event, all right? What's your next event going to be like? You're the one. It's August
yeah,
2024.
it's
What's
back
your
to
very event?
school, baby. It's all geared around education because it's called Naughty Knowledge. So we thought we'd have fun with it and make it all about going back to school. My wife is upstairs right now making little bus passes for the VIP. So you'll get like a little bus pass clipped on you, like you would if you were going to school or being on the bus for the first time. Because just cute little touches like that. Um, and they're up there doing the gift baskets and gift bags and all kinds of stuff they got going on up there right now. So,
Then
but
how do you approach a hotel to do this?
huh,
All right,
yeah.
let's say I have an event. I got a
Uh-huh.
team. I got a good team of people, but I don't know. I don't have a hotel or a good space, but I have my eye on one.
Hmm.
What? Where do I go? How do I make that happen?
You have to be blunt out of the gate. You can't tiptoe around it. You gotta. At least the way I've done it is you just have to explain who you are and tell them what you want to do right out of the gate, and you'll know right away if they're into it or not. Um, uh, and once you've done that, then you generally yeah, I know, John, I see you. Once you've done that, you then pour on the assurances, and then once you pour on the assurances, you better damn sight better be able to follow through with them. Because if you don't think that these hotel managers talk amongst themselves, you're mistaken. So if you can't follow through with your assurances to make sure that their property is going to be okay, and their staff are going to be treated fine, and the law isn't going to be involved, and you're not going to tarnish the name of their hotel in any way, and you got and that in itself takes uh, a lot of conscious effort. You got to really, you really work on making sure that the brand that their brand doesn't get a bad reputation because of people who don't understand who we are. So you have to really come out of the gate with those assurances. In the beginning, when I didn't have an event, it was it was really hard getting people on board with the concept because I was standing in front of people going, I don't know if I can do this, but I want to. So it was lucky for me. I found a hotel that was in severe disarray and was being held together by a trust that the family didn't want to have anything to do with, and the management was like, the week that you picked is our slowest week of the year because of the town. The town is Gettysburg. So as you can imagine, Gettysburg in December is it's dead. There's nothing going on. There's no tourists. So the hotel was going to be sitting empty anyways. So I, just through some luck and some fancy talking, I was able to get the management to give me a contract. Only to discover 6 months later that the hotel ownership had changed and it was new management and everything else. And I didn't know that till I sent an email, and the email that I sent to bounced back to me. And then I was like, oh, that's not good. So a few phone calls later, I discovered that the hotel had sold, there was new management, and they had no idea about my event. None. So the only thing that saved me was the fact that um, I had a contract. Infinity. Hey, sweetie. I see you.
Infinity is asking what's next for 58 as for new events. And we are talking about Naughty Knowledge. This sounds awesome. Oh, I want to check this out. I want to go. I want to go. So we were talking about approaching a hotel. Let me ask you this. Let's back to the story where, let's say I've got a crew of people,
Uh-huh.
and it's a new place, and we want to get in a hotel. We know
Uh-huh.
how to approach it, like you say.
Right.
What makes a good hotel, though? What, like, if we're choosing a hotel, like,
Space.
what would make, okay, space. What
Space.
about space?
Make sure that there's enough of it for public place, classrooms, and vending. Okay. Um, the other thing that comes to mind is privacy. Make sure that there's off-street parking. Now, this isn't the rule because I know for a fact that there's very successful events that go on um, that don't fit this criteria, but this is what I look for. So I like to look for. Those are the things that I'm going to look for is privacy, kind of out of the way, and space. And yeah,
See,
I like to try to
this is
keep everybody under one roof for the weekend. I mean,
nice.
I know that people are going to go out and see the sights and do everything, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. I try to keep
Mm.
everything under one roof for the whole weekend, and those are the assurances that I give the management, especially if they do things like food, bar, everything else. I'm like, look, I am gonna create a programming, calendar, an activity calendar so tight that these people aren't going to want to leave. They're going to stay here and spend money in this hotel.
What
And
are some of
that's
your favorite? Oh, wait, before we get to that,
okay.
I must pause the whole show
Oh my.
for this. And this is important because this symbolizes what your kinky friends is all about. Friends coming up, speaking for other friends.
Mm-hmm.
Dawn Mills says, I was witness to JP not kicking the dog. He just yelled no. Dawn Mills.
Well,
That's you.
thank you, Dawn. I appreciate
Listen,
that. Where were you at the 3 days I was getting fucking ridiculed and roped over the coals? I'm teasing. I'm teasing. Nobody could step in. People tried and they turned on them too. So it wasn't until the guy dropped the thing about my boots that it started to sway, and then people were able to come out without being attacked. Also, I originally wasn't gonna respond, and they everybody in my circle, again, talk about mistakes earlier. Everybody in my circle told me you need to make a thing. I was like, no, it'll blow over. I'm not even going to pay attention to it. It's bullshit. Blah blah blah. And they're like, you have to say something. So I did, and it made it 100 times worse. And and a couple of people tried to jump on after my thing when they saw how bad it got, and they just crucified them as well. So and I just told everybody, I said, just stop, just let's just make it go away and see if it'll stop. And for 3 days I didn't know what the future of the studio was going to be. If people were going to ask me to step down, if they were going to refuse to come anymore, or what. So it worked out the way that it did. Thank God. You know. So
and then Dawn Mills adds, all 58 events are amazing. Nothing but fun. All right, let's get back to the questions. Oh my God, I got lost. All right, how do we run a successful dunk? We did that. Uninvited guests, and when guests go wrong, come on, what happens? What do you do? How do
so
you handle it?
so surprisingly, in all the years that we've done events, we've been able to catch everybody at the lobby. Um, we've had we've I shouldn't say ever. We've only ever had one person get past us and was quickly discovered, and we chased him because we tried to corner him, and he was actually there trying to deal drugs. He was like a development over, and apparently, in speaking to the hotel staff, he does that to every event. He just didn't realize that we were going to have our own security, and our security is trained as well as it is. So when he got in, he realized right away that I'm in trouble. They're after me because he could see us coming for him, and he scurried off. So, but yeah, only ever one person has gotten past the lobby, and we scared him away pretty quickly. He was just a little faster than we were. So
And with all the classes and events and everything like that, do you have like a personal favorite that mm, I'm sure having an event like that with classes and just stuff going on,
Hmm.
you're responsible for this and you see all this and you see the creativity of other people.
Hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I see that. What's your favorite? What's the one that you're really proud of? You're like, wow, that was cool. That you really, really love, that you cherish.
Oh, no, I don't know. There's so much, really. uh, you got me on that one, man. I mean, I like it all. I really do. I do. I walk around the hallway smiling. I mean, I can't. I mean, like if and I know I'm not answering the question, but and it's not deliberate. It's I can't walk from one end of the hotel to the other without getting stopped. You know, a couple dozen times, which I welcome. I will stop and talk to everybody. I feel like that's why I'm there. I love talking to people about the events. I love talking to everybody about the futures. I love talking about where my mind is, and I love hearing people's ideas, and I love taking those ideas back to my team and everything else. So as far as the one class that I am just I I really can't answer that question. I wish I could. I do know that I walk around smiling a lot the whole weekend. I'll go to bed the first night going, why does my cheeks hurt? So oh wait, yep, that's why they hurt. They've been doing that all day. So I I think just as an overall, just walking around going, this was an idea that I had. It started out building fetish furniture. You know what I mean? And here we are.
Do you have
So
a favorite piece of fetish furniture that you've made? Like one that you are very proud of?
yes,
And
it's
what's tell us the
my whipping
story.
post is my favorite piece of furniture.
Do you have a name for your whipping post?
Just we call it the whipping post. Um,
Was it,
yeah,
tell us.
that was my baby. It came out of a barn, a hundred year old beam that I hand sanded. And that was the piece of furniture that Sister D and Ivory Mistress J did the most pictures with. It's also the piece of furniture that the promoters at the time and everybody they all wanted the whipping post. I wish I had a picture of it. I would send it to you. But I'd have to go back through some of my old archives and hard drives and stuff like that. I don't think I have anything on this computer. But yeah. And then the other piece of furniture after that I
Hmm.
have the most fun playing on is the gingerbread table.
Yes, Dawn Mills
Yeah,
comes in. The whipping post and the gingerbread table. What is
gingerbread
the
table.
gingerbread table? Tell us all about that.
Gingerbread table was started out.
Please.
This started out being a. It came. I got the inspiration from a horror movie. That it was like it looks just like a gingerbread man that spreads you out like this, and it had all these holes in it for like tie points, and like you could web somebody's arms into it and everything else. And the more I built it, the bigger it got, and it for I don't know, it just took on a life of its own. I just kind of and I used to say this all the time when I was building wood or building furniture in the beginning. I was just like I followed the wood. I just wherever it went and how I cut and everything else. I just because a lot of the what we call the Gen One furniture was that way. I was me learning, never being in a public dungeon, never being in a private dungeon, never being. I was just building furniture on what I thought it should look like. Never seeing furniture, and all the Gen Ones look that way, and that's why a lot of the original furniture is kind of unique and abstract, and it just not it's something that you just don't see other places because I was just following the wood when I was building it, and yeah.
Um, so we have some other questions. Like,
Okay.
oh, first of all, that post is awesome. That's good. That's good. It says
Hmm.
Kate's question. Kate West. Why are men so obsessed with their own assholes?
I don't know. I, I mean, if Kate's pronoun is she, she's not wrong. I mean, we are, you know.
John Bagley says JP teaching Florentine flogging. You
Oh,
teach Florentine flogging.
I, yeah, give it a
Okay,
class.
so help me work on my flogging technique.
Huh?
Um,
It's the
help me work on my
Macarena. Do the Macarena with
Okay,
a pair of floggers in your hand.
all right. Okay, all
It's
right. Okay, we have some questions since is a lot of education at these events.
yes, pack
You
full.
know, and you've seen it throughout the years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're talking about getting older in the kink community, which is a beautiful thing. Yeah. How has sex education and coaching changed throughout the years?
Well, it's made me more responsible, that's for sure. I could tell you when I first got into the scene, I was no different than any other guy, just being an opportunist. You know, you push till you got resistance. I found out, you know, the older you get, the realize just how how irresponsible that was. You know, um, so uh, yeah, definitely has made me a more responsible practitioner, more responsible, promoter, and it's made me more sensitive to those who have had terrible experiences. And I try to be sensitive to that when when we're delivering our message, to make sure that not everybody's past or future was was bright and shiny. So try to make sure that we always keep that in mind, and just try to be a little bit more sensitive to other people's experiences. And that's something that when I was new to the scene, I didn't even wasn't on the radar. So
One of the things a legitimate question is the groomer question. A lot of people, especially during a political election, during an
mhm.
election year, anybody who is in the kink community, anybody who is gay,
Mhm.
anybody who's trans, they just paint it this horrible transphobic brush that we're all satanic or whatever, or we're
Mhm.
not. Like, I
No.
mean, the kink community is filled with good people. I know
Mhm.
this. I talk to them all the time, and I'm a good person. I know it. I could say it.
Mhm.
I've messed up. I'm human. Um, I've never groomed anybody,
Mhm.
but there are always reactions to people, oh, stuff like that. So how do you, by having an event like this, you're gonna get people, either very, very, very conservative or just
Mhm.
anti-sex work or anything like that. Um, how do you how do you combat that? How do you react?
Um. I mean, that is a a tricky one, isn't it? You get you know, and you don't react. You try to reason. I mean, I shouldn't say reason. You try to explain something to somebody once, and if they just refuse to get it, then you gotta you ask yourself, what is the benefit here, with this person? So we've had you know people come into my family, my inner circle, through you know people that were involved in the community would bring somebody from the outside in, and they would have an opinion about trans and queer and stuff like that. And within 6 months, we've taken this person who just had this crusty exterior, and next thing you know, they're out talking to their family about maybe the way that we've thought in the past, you know The example that comes to mind is one of my guys I just lost this past October. We all called him Farmer, and he was a farmer. He was, he just didn't really have a lot of experience in that area. It was brought up a certain way, and when he came to us, he was very ignorant about a lot of things. And the day he died, he bled Studio 58 and what it stood for. So that right there tells me that there are people that they're just a product of their environment. And if you show them another environment that isn't threatening to where they're coming from, they're going to accept this. But if you come at them strong and you try to force something down them that they're not willing to accept, then then now you're being counterproductive. So, you know, to my knowledge, I don't believe we've ever had anybody that just didn't accept you know what I mean, the way that we, the way we like people to act. Now I know we have had people that come in and they're like, "Oh, this wasn't what I thought," but then they stuck around and they're like, "Oh, well, you're good people. I had a great time," and then before you know it, you know they're having new experiences with the same sex in the dungeon. So. Mm-hmm.
John Bagley says, "I have a picture of the whipping post, JP.
Can he send it?
Yes.
Let him send it.
He just sent it to you.
Yeah. He's sending it to me or sending it to the.
I have a picture of whipping post sent to JP.
Oh yeah, he just.
Let's get really down to business. Stan Vladimir has a very important question.
There it is. Thank you, John. That's the whipping post. So that's my baby. Thank you, John.
That is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Stan Vladimir has a very important question. What are your thoughts on medical play?
Love it. As a professional paramedic, I like medical play. I don't get a lot into cutting and needles. I do needles for a living, but I do a lot of enema play. I sound. Trying to make sure I don't tell on myself here, but I do work with breast play, although I don't do anything around the throat. I do a lot with CPAP play. I have a cardiac monitor and everything in my house, in my dungeon. So yeah, I like medical play.
If you were building, what do you use for safety kits in your dungeon and your events?
What do I use for safety?
Yeah, like what do you like? What's the things that you must have in your safety kit?
Oh well, as far as you as a practitioner,
no,
what do I require my people to carry?
Yeah, like if you're throwing a huge event at a
Well, we have a full on medical bag with oxygen, BVM, which is the bag valve mask that breathes for people. We have first aid kits, everything that you could think of. I have almost all my upper staff. I've got some sort of medical training, or medical background. We do things a little differently than other things, because most events have medical 24/7. That's what they're committed. It's just assumed that me and the upper ups, the upper management people, are going to respond to any medical emergency. So we just kind of handle them as they come, and a lot of the medical emergencies never even reach me. My security lead QC, he's a terrific guy, terrific EMT. Most of the medical stuff he oversees. The dungeon crew, they're all pretty well trained in there. The only time that we will only get called down there is if there's bleeding that's a little bit beyond their comfort, or somebody actually passes out. And 9 times out of 10, I don't even have to go down there. QC's on it, or whoever might be doing medical at the time. We have had somebody in cardiac arrest at one of our events before. It was a drowning. They drowned in the pool. It it it's a crazy story. The people in the pool saw the person in the pool floating, but was afraid to touch her. That was they were afraid to touch her without her consent. And it wasn't until it was very obvious by her color change that she was not just floating to be relaxing, and that she was in distress. And it was then when they pulled her out of the pool and she was in full cardiac arrest. I had, like I said, I have a great team. A lot of people contribute me as the person that made the difference with that incident, but I refuse to believe that. It was the people doing CPR before I got there. By the time I got there, this individual had started breathing on her own. So all I did was just, kept the life-saving measures going, and my team did terrific. They worked because the police showed up, and they worked with the local law enforcement, and did did everything to the T. It was very little impact that happened. There's people today that were at that event that had no idea that there was an ambulance, and
Yes.
and everything. So
I know exactly. I love. I don't like that happening that it happened, but seeing and hearing the stories, seeing it, like I've seen it happen. I've been to dungeons where people had ambulances have to be called, or people fainted, or people fell, or something like that, or just some bad. Everybody gets together, and they all want to help. No one's a scumbag. At least the places I go to, no one's a scumbag. That's the beauty of the kink community, which I really love.
My motto during a crisis like that is duck on the water. I tell everybody, I was like, we are ducks on a water. I said, I don't care how bad it is. I don't care if the police are outside the door with a battering ram. We are cool as a cucumber. We are. And if the police are in full riot gear, ready to come through the door, I want somebody to walk up, tap me on the shoulder, and say, JP, I think the police want to come inside. I don't want anybody freaking out. I don't want anybody losing their shit. I just want, you know what I mean? And we'll handle it. And I'll go over and I'll open the door for the police and say, come on in. You know what I mean? You don't have to break the door. We're fine. Come on in. So everything is calm, cool, and collect. And my team, because I've been preaching that for 12, 13 years now, they got it and they're good at it. So you'll almost never know that there's a crisis going on at our event, because everybody is cool. So,
and the beauty of that, I think, really stems from the kink community itself. I mean, it's as a community, we're based on being, cool, kind, and open-minded. You know what I mean? So I think at the core of it, I think it's beautiful. It really is. So let's continue with this. Rapid fire recommendations. All right, they don't have to be kink related at all. Right? This is just we got to get to know you.
Okay.
People who don't, for the people who don't, I know you, but for the people who don't, right? It doesn't have to be, right? It doesn't have to be the be all end all. Okay, it's all media. So, all right, recommend a film.
Oh, John Wick.
Which one?
Yeah. First one. Yeah. I could watch that movie anytime, anywhere.
It's a guilty pleasure because I had a dog named Moki, and it's like, if anybody mess with that dog, I'm gonna, yeah. So I feel that, even though I have issues with the music, the drowned out music, it's I don't know, it didn't fit, but it's just the silly 90s like all rock. Anyway, John Wick. Yeah, John Wick. Those are very cathartic movies.
Mhm.
Just fun ways to kill. It's a great cathartic energy action.
I mean, you're
Yeah,
rooting for him to kill people all the way through the movie. You know what I
yeah.
mean? You're like,
So it makes it.
you're on edge, going, oh yeah, get him. You know? So
That's wild.
yeah.
All right. Recommend a song.
Well, the song, my favorite song is "Sweet Child of Mine" by Guns N' Roses. So
Guns N' Roses. What
yeah,
about covers? Do you like any cover versions of that?
yeah.
Have you
Oh,
heard any?
covers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of that song.
I like the one that Slash does with Miles Kennedy. Um, does the same that they do a version of it. So
You know, I gotta see if I can find it. Luna,
um,
Sweet Child of Mine.
yeah, Miles Kennedy and Slash they do a cover of it.
Hear this? You hear this? I don't know if you can hear it. It's Luna, the Galaxy Dean Wareham from Galaxy 500.
Uh huh.
Has a very unique voice. He has a side project called Luna, and they do a very very slow cover of it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
pretty beautiful.
Yeah,
I'll send it to you.
yeah.
Check it
I
out,
appreciate that.
Luna,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Sweet Child of Mine. I love that. I have a huge compilation of covers.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Sunshine we play this game of best cover. Who does
Mm-hmm.
the best version of which cover?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm a music lover. All right,
Mm-hmm.
so recommend a book.
Oh my. Uh, you won't see me in the library. I'll tell you that. But
Could be The Giving Tree.
huh? Yeah.
Could be The Giving Tree. I like it. Doesn't matter. Any book. Could be a manual for your car.
I get into a lot of hypnosis books.
Really?
So I mean, yeah, I do. I'm a certified hypnotist, so I do a lot of you know, I don't. You won't find me reading because I'm just too busy. But when I'm in the truck and I'm driving, I do a lot of like ebooks and stuff like that. So pretty much anything
You
that
read
deals with.
ebooks while you're driving?
I don't read them. I listen to them. But you know, so yeah, yeah. So.
All right, right.
Especially
Um,
on hypnosis. You know how hard it is not to hypnotize yourself when you're listening. You know,
I can
to
imagine. I've done that. I want to talk about that. Well,
yeah.
let me finish with recommendations. Recommend a meal.
Recommended meal. Oh,
Recommend a meal.
steak. Give me a nice porterhouse with a Parmesan crust cheese top, Brussels sprouts, and uh, not Brussels sprouts. Why did I say Brussels? I hate Brussels sprouts. Asparagus. The only reason why I said Brussels sprouts is because Michelle was eating some earlier. Asparagus, porterhouse steak, and probably sweet potato. Yeah, that'd be the best meal.
Okay. I have a question. Very good. I'm trying to get the thing. All right. You're an event coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
You own events. You create. You're the inspiration behind it. You've done it. You're living a dream that I'm trying to live. It's wonderful getting all these people together doing it. It's inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, let's say you have endless resources, right? You can go anywhere in the world with anybody and do anything. What is your ultimate kinky fantasy?
Retire on a tropical island where I could build my own resort and every week a new band of kinky people come and enjoy the island in which we have created. That would be and I'd like to stay there.
So it would be like a real fantasy island without like the
Mm-hmm.
creepiness and the horror.
Well, that yeah, yeah.
All
Yep.
right, I get digging that. All right.
And I could tell you, I didn't just come up with that. I mean, anybody that knows me knows that I have two
Okay.
goals, and I like to complete both of them, or one or the other.
Tell
One
us.
is to do a major event in every city every month. Okay, not every city, one city a month somewhere in the United States. So 12 events a year in a different city. And then that way there's a new event going on every month, and just rotate cities, or have my own resort where I'm, where uh, people leave on Sunday and new people come in on Monday, and they're there for a week. And, the whole fantasy gambit. How big or how little, I don't know, but that's what I
That
want.
sounds beautiful. That sounds
Mm-hmm.
absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, before we do the word association game, are you up for that? You up for the
Yeah,
word association game?
sure,
Oh,
yeah.
right. Cool. I have to shut the show down for a second
Uh,
because I know the kink community has got them out there, and this goes out especially to the witchy, the witchy, spooky,
mm,
beautiful goth pagan doms out there. This is a special shout out. I see you. I feel your energy. What is this all about? Please. What this is you.
that's me. Where's
Yeah,
that at?
naughty by nature. Naughty by
Oh
nature.
yeah, okay.
So tell us, what is naughty by nature?
Naughty in nature.
Naughty in
That
nature.
was
Oh
our,
yes.
yeah.
Ooh.
That's our. So we did it for 3 years. Well, first year we called it Camp Celebrate because it was coming out of COVID. So we thought, what better way to celebrate everything that you missed during COVID? So the Camp Celebrate was to celebrate birthdays, everything. So we had a little bit of everything. It it was successful, but it kind of missed the point. A lot of people didn't get it. So what people did love about it was how crazy we went with Halloween. So the last 2 years, we made it a Halloween themed camp. We called it Naughty in Nature, and it's camping in October. So uh, it didn't get the traction we was hoping. People enjoyed it, but will it ever come back? I like it because it truly was my most favorite event. I love doing Halloween theme. We did like what every year the dungeon had its own haunt, so you had to actually go through like a mini haunt just to get into the dungeon. So I enjoyed doing that. I enjoyed getting the crew on board with understanding that concept, and getting creative with that, and not just hanging things from nails. I mean, like literally putting them in a position where it looks like they're coming at you. So and they did. They really got into it. I really liked investing money in the animatronic stuff that we had bought for it and everything, and still continue to wish to do so. But we decided to do Naughty Knowledge this year, and so we put nature on hold for this year. Now, if I'm going to do knowledge, has gotten so much popularity. I don't know at this point if I shouldn't do it next year. So knowledge will probably happen again. It has become bigger than I expected it to be. So it will happen in 2025. And I really, really want to bring camp back in 2025. A few things have to happen with the venue. If I can make a few changes with the venue with Ramblewood, I will certainly go back in a heartbeat. But I also have to increase my staff because we do 3 big events right now. We do Naughty Gras, which is in March. It's a big Mardi Gras party. We do Naughty Knowledge now and Naughty Noel. If I'm going to add that 4th event, I need more help. I need more volunteers because not everybody can take off that kind of time. And you know, as much as I try to help my crew and help them with their work around their work schedules and everything else like that too, it's just I need more help to be able to add a 4th event. So maybe if 2025 is helps me and puts a uh, blesses me with more help, maybe we can bring camp back. I would hope so. I love doing Naughty in Nature. It is my favorite event. It is a laid back camp weekend that it is just at the most magical spiritual place that you could think of, and I for one miss it and we hadn't even not had it yet this year.
So everybody, JP needs some help.
Yeah.
Get some jobs for people.
Yeah.
Let's get people to work. Come on.
Be ready to work too,
Do
boys.
something. Seriously, do something for the kink community.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're here for a reason,
Mhm.
right? So, let's play the word association game. Okay.
Okay.
There's no. This is a whimsical idea, right? Think of it like the doctor's thing, like the Rorschach text. What do you see in this?
Yeah.
Say the first thing that comes into your head.
Oh,
so
I'll try to do that. I'll try to do that.
There's no wrong answer.
Okay.
There's no wrong answer. Let's say if I say chastity, you could think of lock, right? But let's say I say chastity and you're thinking about a porterhouse steak. You could say steak. And I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter. There's no wrong answer. And I love absurdity and chaos.
Well, the first word that comes to my mind with chastity is control. So
all right, well, wait till we start the game.
Okay. All right.
All right. You ready? You got everything? All right, good. Chastity.
Control.
Spanking.
Fun.
Straight jackets.
For sale. I got a lot of them.
Really? What
Yeah.
kind? I mean, they're a different kind. I got one for my birthday. I still have it. Yeah, and it's like a real straight jacket from a. So they're different. There's like the bondage ones. What kind? Please.
I have the canvas. I have the leather. So, my wife and I, Michelle, we bought out. I'll say his name because he's passed on, but his name was William Johnson. He was a collector. He was in the scene for a long time, and he. I don't know what his fet name was. I know he was real big with the Crucible, and Black Rose for a while back back early. But when he passed, I was blessed enough to get. Well, I didn't. I had to buy it, but we bought out his estate of all his kinky gear, and I don't know. I kind of got like a message that I needed to give it back to, not really give it, but get it back to the community. And I don't know. It's just like I have all this equipment.
I love straight jackets.
Yeah.
I used to, when I was young.
I think I have like 35 of them right now.
I used to make homemade ones out of raincoats and belts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Weird shit.
Yeah.
All right, we got back to the game.
Okay.
Right. Word association game.
Okay.
French maid outfits.
Not for me.
Spanking.
Didn't we do this one already?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Mutilation.
No. Pass.
Floggers versus paddles. Ooh, that's a good question. Floggers.
Yeah. Well, like John said. Oh, sissy hypno?
Yes.
I really don't know how I would respond to that. Reverse. That's what I would do.
You would revert. You would.
I would reverse from sissy to masculine. With hip.
That's funny that you say that because there's a whole business of people doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I get into that. Yeah. We'll talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What about face slapping?
I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind with face slapping is don't.
Yeah.
So
CBT.
Fun all day. Who's next? Yeah.
That reminds me, I wanted to ask this. How do you teach CBT? I imagine, stop me if you heard this, but I imagine first you got to set it medically, right? So like hygiene, right? So make sure if you're doing anything with needles or anything like that, if you're going that far. But I would think that would be that's how I would start. But how do you teach a class in CBT?
Well, the first thing you need to understand the consequences of CBT. You need to understand the anatomy. You need to understand, what to look for if you're, if you're causing damage. You need, you know what I mean. So you need. So the first thing is is awareness. If you're going to be teaching, you need to teach awareness on what could go wrong. And the second thing is you need to know your sub. If it's somebody that you've never played with before, you don't you don't go like you would with an experienced person you play with, because until you get to know that sub and get to know their anatomy, and I mean and for lack of a better term, toughen them up, you can't really, you can't, because there's a lot that can go wrong if you don't know what you're doing. So my recommendation is, as a person who's new to CBT, look up, scrotal emergencies, understand what those are, understand how they occur, especially with blood supply and everything else, and twisting the testy, and I know, and if what I'm saying is like foreign to you, then you need to educate yourself so that you understand what I'm saying, and then be able to, uh, you know, uh, you know, apply your technique based on keeping all that in mind, and the toughness, if you will, of what your bottom can take. The conditioning of what your bottom can take, and that's the
We have a
that's the
lot of
first step.
we have a lot of praise here from Master Bruiser
Okay.
and Sir. And Sir says, very good
Mm-hmm.
point. Stan Vladimir is we're gonna end the word association. Ball gags. First thing that comes to your mind.
Quiet, quiet them down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're ending this show pretty much. But what are some ways that kinky people can stick together and help each other out?
I mean, understand that not everybody's kink is your kink, but that doesn't mean that you shun them away. I mean, accept everybody for who they are, and you don't just say it but live it. You just have to. I see so many people that talk it but they don't walk it, and I'm even guilty of it myself. There's things that I will shy away from, or there's people that just, they give me a, they just kind of rub me the wrong way. But at the end of the day, they're still a member of my community, and if they stop me in the hallway, I'm going to give them my time. So and
And
make them feel,
where do you think
welcome.
that this where do you want your kinky path to take you next? Because we're all on a path, you know what I mean?
I hope that I can get this to a point where I can have my resort and hand this over to either somebody or a group, and they carry on the torch, and keep the Studio 58 name alive. Um, and if I don't get my resort, like I said earlier, it's not a wasted life. I don't care if I chase that carrot to the day I die. Um, I'll still go to my grave smiling and telling a lot of cool stories. So
This is beautiful.
mm.
Ah, JP is Studio 58. How can people get in touch with you? How can people give you money? How can people support? Just how can people, yeah, because like seriously, you're someone doing it. A lot of
uh,
people are just sitting here watching or sitting here listening, which is great.
mm-hmm,
But do something. Come on. This is
mm-hmm,
you have one life, right? Live it. And you're doing it. You're doing it for, and other people are singing your praises, obviously, and
mm-hmm.
you're not kicking dogs. you know, er- like, so so how can they get in touch with you? What are all the ways they can get in touch with you?
Um,
Instagram,
so
Twitter, X,
you can
FetLife,
you can
MySpace.
contact me at Likes to Play Rough on FetLife. I will tell you that my wife and my program director, Lady Plume, my wife, Playful Trouble, they monitor that account because I'm busy. I will check it every once in a while. Um, so you can contact me there if you want to, you want to talk to me. Contact us at studio58events.com. My wife monitors that email as well. Also the Studio 58 page on FetLife, you know. Yeah, and don't be afraid to walk up to me at the events. I talk to everybody. Um, and I'm all about networking. I'm all about working with other people. I do work with other events right now. So if you have an event or an idea and you want to work with me, come talk to me. I'm all ears. Again, it's not about me and my events. I am I want to believe that I'm true to my word. I am about making the community a better place, and if helping you make your event better, I could do that. So
Thank you, JP.
yeah.
Thank you. Seriously, you're inspiring others. You're getting people together. You're doing it.
Hey,
That's
before I go, I really need to give a shout out to a couple people that I hadn't mentioned yet, um, and people that that I value deeply, and I'm glad they're there. And I my upper management, which would be Craig Bodon Bay, Wicked Peanut, and Melinda. Melinda, I'm sorry, I can't think of your fet name right now. But they are. Uh, they are the three people that they are running the event. Yeah, I mentioned my security lead earlier. Quiet Caramel. He, again, I have my kind of like my go-to middleman. His name is Teased. He's the guy that's walking around making sure that I'm happy because he's seen me unhappy and he doesn't like it when I'm that way. My right hand man, Hatter, I don't know if you saw me, I was motioning to him a little bit. He's here now working on things. I mean, he's literally loading trailers and doing stuff. He is by my side weeks before the event. He never leaves me, and he's the one that is he just. If you see Hatter, make sure you say hi to him. Spark is my head DM, and of course we saw John Bagley chime in there a little bit ago, and Apache Goddess. She's also one of my DMs, and her guy Slave Mike. They'll be at the at Naughty Knowledge, so you'll get to meet them there. And I mentioned him earlier briefly, but I can't really. I really didn't emphasize just. I don't know if I would still be here doing this if it wasn't for him. He's kind of like the only guy I will let see me cry if I've ever tried. But his name is Diamond Dave. I can't express just how much I value his opinion, even though I only listen to him about 50% of the time. But he's usually right about 75% of the time. So I should probably learn to listen to him more. But yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to those people. I hope I got everybody because it takes so much to do this. And
Spread the love. Spread
yeah,
it. Yeah, let it go. Yeah, I'm thinking of just having a big compilation
uh huh,
of all the people I interviewed, me
uh huh,
thanking them, but also
yeah,
them thanking people.
right,
Why not?
right.
Let's give
I mean,
thanks. Give people, thank the
these
kinky
are
person.
these are the faces of Studio 58. I mean, I am walking around, but I mean, you're going to see these people more than you will me because they're on it. They know the message. They know what I expect, and their mission is to get it before I do because they feel like if I get it, then they failed, and that's how they are.
And we're wrapping it up.
Yep.
Get 15% off of all inventory at Locked in Lust after with the offer code YKF. Yes, Chastity. Chastity is a lot of fun. Chastity is a lot of fun, people. Sir is going to end us off with this beautiful what Sir wrote. You'll get whatever you want. If you want something, you definitely can achieve it. I trust you will. Please,
I believe that.
everybody,
I
buy
believe
my
that.
books. The Coolest Way to Kill Yourself. This is a love story.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. It's your kinky friends, which is also a love story to the kink community. Just a couple people hanging out in New Jersey in the kink community. and how they saved my life.
Mhm.
So everybody, please support the kink community. Go out there, go to an event, go to a munch. Help it. Be nice to a kinky person.
Mhm.
And you know what I'm saying? Have a great week. It's gonna be a great week. I don't know. Be cool. Be kind. Keep an open mind.
Mm.
Take care.
See ya.